Welcome in, everyone. This is Charlie Castro here on Thursday, January the 28th. I'm your host today. We're going to be talking about some new inventory this week, and we actually have a unique show today, or podcast today, I should say. We've got really two primary things on our agenda today. I've got some both REOs and some NPNs directly from a bank, and so there's 6 different tapes. And so I'm going to focus today on just those 6 tapes. They are some unique tapes to us. Very difficult type of inventory to get. I worked on these pretty much the whole week to put everything together to present them today. So I'm going to talk about that. We have our first buyer beware edition. We're going to be doing that from time to time. When we see things that go on out there that maybe you want to know about, whether you're a buyer or seller, that's good information to have, we're going to share that with you. And so today we're going to have our first buyer beware segment. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be covering not all of this week's available inventory. We had more available inventory this week, but I'm really going to focus in on what we have that came in on the way of these bank tapes. So I'm going to focus in on that. I'm also going to show you the latest REO list, which is going to be a new list next Monday, but I'm going to share that with you today. If you're looking for other inventory in other parts of the country, again, we're not featuring all of our inventory today, so we have other stock as well. We got some packaging in Atlanta, a small 13 pack in Atlanta. So we have some other things. But if you have a pen and a paper, have that out. Be prepared to take down some listing numbers. Every slide that I'm going to show to you will have a summary on it, and each one of those summaries will be associated with a code or a number. And we're going to ask you to write that down. So if you have an interest in that particular list, just write that down. Contact us. We'll be glad to send you the list. For those that don't know, we stopped sending out our lists and tapes about, I want to say it was in early December when we first launched this YouTube channel. And we did that primarily because just there were so many people out there that were taking our lists and they were sharing with other people. I would have, sellers who respected us to give us their list and allow us to market their list of properties. They call us up and say, hey, Charlie, somebody tried to sell me my own list back today. And that was happening constantly. And we had to find a way to get around that. To be able to still market aggressively, but yet keep this stuff private and respect the integrity of the lists that we're given by our respective sellers to market. And so we've decided on this format, which is our YouTube channel. And every week I'll spend 20 minutes. I've been able to keep these all to about 20 minutes and just going over what's available out there for the week. So have a piece of paper and pencil handy. We'll be talking about that. We've got both REOs, we've got non-performing notes, we've got performing notes. These are direct from a bank. I'm going to show these to you just in a couple slides. And I'm also going to go over the January list of over 1,800 REO properties. Now, for many of you that's been watching this channel for the last couple, 6-8 weeks, I guess it's been now, you know that probably our most popular list right now to get great deals off of is this one REO list. And what I love about this list, and I'll talk about it in detail in a few slides, but it's all over the country. It's deeply discounted. The people that own these properties are very good to work with. So it's a very good tape to work off of. So we're going to be talking about that in a few slides as well. Okay, our first installment of Buyers Beware, Buyers and Sellers Beware. And I'm going to start this off by saying I'm not going to mention any names. I've had other people that have talked to me about this over the last couple of months and have asked about doing something like this, just making people aware of some things that go on in the marketplace that may harm you if you're not careful. And so I finally agreed to do that. I'm going to do that right now. But I'm not going to mention names, not going to point fingers at anybody. The intent and the purpose of this is solely for this reason. For you to maybe gather some information that may protect you from experiencing some of the things that other people have experienced in this market over particularly the last year. Might have gone on before that. I was not privy to it until maybe about 6 months ago. It's become annoying for some people. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe what's kind of going on. Again, not giving any detail, no names, not going to show you any of the collateral material that gets passed around. I'm just going to give you a heads up. If you're a buyer or a seller, you want to listen to this. Okay, so what's the deal? I don't want to call it a scam. It's not a scam. Is it a scheme? Yeah, it's kind of a scheme. And who are these guys? Well, there's 2 people in particular that are what they're doing is they're presenting themselves as large buyers, would have these large letters of intent and large proof of funds that they sort of pass around like candy, and they represent themselves as being a buyer. And so initially you say, yeah, this looks great, and these are big buyers, and I should sell my properties or my notes to these people. And what we've learned is you're not necessarily dealing with a buyer, and I'm not even so sure I can call it a broker, but what they tend to do is they tend to put things under contract with the stated intention that they're going to buy your properties from you. When in actuality, what they're doing is they're taking your properties off the market and they're shopping them. They're going to take that list and they're going to try to find a buyer. And if they find a buyer, they might close it. Problem is, if they don't find a buyer, they disappear. What should you look for? If you're a buyer, what should you be looking for? If you're a seller, what questions should you be asking? So just let's start with a buyer. If you're a buyer and you're looking and you're talking to somebody about a list of properties, the first question you should ask is the very first question I ask is do you own them? Do you own title to these? Are these titled in your name? If they say they're not titled in they're not titled in their name, then they're brokering them. So the first question you want to ask if you're a buyer, you're out there buying, a group approaches you and they say, hey, I've got these properties to sell you, and you're looking at it, you need to ask them if they actually own them or not. Because if they don't own them, they're just either flipping them, they're just a broker. And there's nothing wrong with being a broker at all. There's nothing wrong with being a broker. As a matter of fact, there's nothing wrong with taking something and putting it under contract with the purpose of flipping it. Nothing wrong with that either. What's wrong is when you don't tell somebody that's what you're doing. So you've contracted it, you've taken it under contract, you've taken it off the market, you've led somebody to believe that you're a buyer and you're going to buy them, when in actuality all you're trying to do is do a flip. And if you're successful in the flip, then you buy them. And if you're not successful in the flip, then you don't buy them, you don't close, and then you just walk away from the table and everybody gets left standing at the closing table. If you are a seller, what questions should you be asking? There's lots of questions you should be asking. The primary question probably is, can I verify your proof of funds? Can I call your bank to verify that you are actually a buyer? If I was a seller, if I'm going under contract with any large portfolio, and large, I mean anything over 10 properties, I would suggest to you that you have a short due diligence period and earnest money goes hard. If no earnest money gets put up, or if that earnest money isn't allowed to go hard at a certain date, and that title and escrow company should be your title and escrow company, then you might be having your list shopped. You're putting your properties under contract, you've removed them from the market, you have hope in your heart that you're going to close a transaction, where in actuality someone's just shopping your tape around. And I had this happen to me not too long ago. I had a list of properties, won't even mention the state. It was a prominent state. I was brokering this for a hedge fund, somebody that I have much respect for, and has given us the goodwill and good fortune of being able to market some of their properties. I get a phone call one day, and I'm told, Charlie, the guy is trying to buy this property, they just tried to sell the tape back to the guy that owns it. He literally called the guy that owned the tape and tried to sell it to him. So if you don't have earnest money up front and it goes hard at a certain point in time, you might be having your tape shopped. What to look for? What you want to look for is the presentation that somebody is a large buyer and can close, and they usually tell you they can close very quickly, which is always a sort of a carrot and a stick. You want to look for stuff like that. You want to look for proof of funds that aren't really proof of funds, or more like a letter from a financial institution. You want to look for that. And then you want to just ask all those hard questions. If you're a buyer looking to buy, hey, do you own the property? Yes or no? If you don't, then you're brokering it, or how are you doing this? Oh, another little tidpiece that you want to ask is if somebody asks you to put up money in escrow without seeing a list first, big red flag. Big red flag. If somebody says, yeah, I've got these properties to sell you, but you need to put $100,000 in escrow and show us I understand the theory behind that. The theory behind that is a seller will tell you, well, we need to make sure that our buyer is actually qualified and has the ability to be able to take these assets down. So we have to protect ourselves by asking for that money up front. That sounds all well and good on the surface of it, but the reality of it is in many cases that money's getting put up for some other reason other than that. So if you're asked to put up money before you see a list, big red flag. How to protect yourself. Ask all the right questions. Somebody asked me a couple days ago when we first said we were going to do this, will you talk to people if they call you about what your experiences have been? The answer I said was yes. If somebody wants to call me up and say, hey, I've had a proposal sent to me that looks sort of like this, what can you tell me? Listen, we're all about transparency. If it's based in truth and fact, there's nothing wrong with talking about that. I'm just not going to do it in a public forum like this. So how do you protect yourself? You got to ask all the right questions before you move forward with some of these groups out there. Anyway, that's enough for the day. Okay, current market conditions. Yes, prices have stabilized. Large tapes and portfolios that are stabilizing cash flowing, they've gone up in price. We've talked about this now for about a month. I'm going to continue to bring this up for probably the next few weeks and tell everybody, because I still get people that call me up. They get copies of our lists of properties in portfolio form. And I just had one, as a matter of fact. I don't mind saying that the large tape in Arizona of 338 properties, we have an offer on it. It's a significant offer. But their initial foray into this in terms of their first overture and price-wise was about 25% below what they were asking. If it's a cash-flowing, stabilized portfolio, folks, I just got to say it one more time, those are not being sold anymore at 60 to 70% of value, especially in the states like California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, Florida, New York, New Jersey. Those markets there, you're not going to get tapes that are cash flowing, stabilized assets at 60, 70% of market value. It's just, they're just not out there at the moment. Although we do believe the market's going to correct. And what we're hearing from other institutional buyers is we're going to see some downturn in prices over the next 6 months even. So that could change. Now, what is still great value is the REO list. So if you're looking for a list of REOs, vacant properties that need work, that's where you're going to get your great buys. I got a bunch of those. We're going to talk about a bunch of those today, and we're going to start with these. These are all bank properties. Again, I've spent the better part of a week doing my due diligence on these. These are legitimate. These are deliverable. These are the protocol for the following 6 lists. First of all, you have to provide this documentation. You have to provide an NDA with the group that's marketing these. You have to sign and return it to me. So I've got an NDA here in-house. You have to sign that and send that back to me. I cannot send you any of these lists until you sign the NDA. So if you want to sign the NDA and get some of these lists, you got to contact us for that first. They do require formal LOI and POF. The LOI must be specific. It must have the name, address, landline, cell phone, etc. All the contact information for the proof up, because they are going to call before they do anything and make sure that you've actually got the funds to close. So unlike the situation I told you a few moments ago, the buyer beware segment, with these types of sellers, they're going to ask you to prove up right up front. You're not going to get out of the gate without proving up. So if you can't prove up, don't ask for the tape. The fees are split 50-50 between us and the broker. Now, what's the fee? They're asking for 6%. So 3% going to one side and 3% going to the other side. But it could be 4%, 2 and 2. It could be 2%, 1 and 1. Some of these lists are extremely large. So the expectation on broker's fees may be a little bit less than what they normally would. If it's a $50,000 REO, it's not unusual to see a 4 to 6% fee. But on a $1 million REO or $1 million NPN, probably 2 to 3% is probably going to be the more realistic expectation with regards to fees. The pricing on all of these is flexible, and I'll go through that in each tape. But the pricing on all of these is flexible. The offers on the notes should be made from the principal balance. So you're going to see a column that says principal balance. That's where you want to make your offer on, percentage of that principal balance. They did not give me price expectations, but I do know this. They are motivated to sell these. These are higher ticket items. They're going to listen to all offers. If you're not ridiculous in your offers are going to be considered. Now, what do I mean by that? Don't take an NPN on a house. It's a $2 million house and think you're going to walk in and offer $500,000 for it. They're not going to do that. But if your offers are reasonable, you got some really good deals in these tapes. And you'll see the tapes here in just a couple of minutes. The bank will consider all offers. I said that all of these have appraisals. So just so you all know that we've got appraisals on these. So these come with lots of information. The spreadsheets on these are as detailed as I've seen on any list. And we'll start looking at a few of them now. So the first one, we got 9 New York NPNs. The unpaid balance is $4,596,000. The appraised value is $8,003,000. Again, they're going to take offers on that against the principal balance. So the principal balance is where you'll be making your offers. Now, again, we're only going to show you some examples. Again, as we talked about earlier in the show, we're no longer going to give out these tapes. We can't do that. So what you're going to see is a screenshot of part of the spreadsheet. It'll give you an idea of what's available, but to get a copy of the actual full list, you have to contact us. We have to do some vetting, and then we can get you to sign the NDA, and then we'll send you out the tape. So this is tape A. So just refer to tape A for 9 New York non-performing notes. Tape B is 10 Chicago non-performing notes. This consists of 12 multifamily units. It's valued at $2,500,000. The unpaid balance is $2,800,000. They have a hard asking price of this of $1,100,000. So as you can see, that it's great value from what it's valued at to what the asking price is less than 50%. These are some really nice properties. If you're looking for NPNs in Chicago, ask for tape number B, or tape B, I should say, not number B. Okay, so now we got 16 nationwide REOs. These are, by the way, these are all different banks. There could be consistent, similar banks from one tape to another, but these are not all from one bank. I should point that out. These are primarily in Illinois, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Texas. There's a few scattered about Georgia and too. So there's a few scattered around, but that's primarily where they're at. Illinois, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Texas. These are 16 nationwide REOs. The value is at $10 million. They're asking for 5.9, so they're asking about 60 cents on the dollar. These are some pretty good buys here as well. Now, some of these, not all of these, but some of these, let me back up. Not all of these are single-family residents. You've got some multifamilies. You've even got a commercial. You've got a mixed-use building. You've got a little bit of everything here. So it's not just single-family or multifamily. You've got some commercial and some mixed-use product as well. That is tape C. That's 16 nationwide REOs. Then tape D, we've got 19 non-performing notes. These are nationwide, but they're primarily East Coast. I spent a good deal of time in this tape because there were some confusing pieces to it, so it took me a little while to understand this. But it's valued at $47 million. The unpaid balance is $20 million. And again, if I didn't say this, these can all be cherry-picked. This does not have none of these have to be purchased as a group. None of these are packaged. These are bank owned, so they're not looking to sell the entire. They'd love to sell the entire tape. You'd probably get a great deal if you did offer on an entire tape, but you don't have to buy these entire lists. You can cherry pick all these. These are 19 non-performing notes nationwide, primarily East Coast. You can see around here you got D.C., Georgia. Well, that's East Coast. You got Hawaii in there as well, but India. But the majority of these are on the East Coast. That is tape number D, or tape D. Okay, tape E is 27 performing notes. These are nationwide. These are all over the place. I looked at this list, and these are just all scattered all about. But these are performing, and they can be cherry-picked. The value is at $64 million. The unpaid balance is $26 million. This includes single-family, commercial, office buildings, and condos. And you get an idea if you look to the far right on the note amounts. You got $3 million, $2 million, $3 million. I mean, these are closer to Class A properties, folks. So these are performing notes. Again, there's 27 of them. They're performing. That's tape number E. Got two more of these. So 36 nationwide REOs. These are primarily East Coast again. New York, New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Pennsylvania. These had no valuations on these. The bank had no valuations. The asking price is $3 million. You're going to have to do your own due diligence on these. But again, these can be cherry-picked, and these are in some really nice areas. The prices on these are pretty strong, so these would not be considered Class C products. So 36 nationwide REOs, primarily on the East Coast. That is tape number F. Now that's for that. Now I'm moving on. Now that's the last of that group. That's the last of those 6 offerings that are from the bank. Now this is our REO tape for January. Now I will say that by the time you see this, it'll be almost February, and the new list should be coming out. So I'm probably going to hold off giving out this list. Probably till Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. But if you're in the hunt for REOs, vacant, distressed properties that need work, but you can get great prices on, this is the tape to work off of. It's a great tape to work for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's all over the country. So if you're in a small town somewhere in Montana, I wouldn't go that far. But if you're in a small town somewhere in Washington or Oregon or Mississippi, and you're looking for REO stock, this is a great tape to work from because this stuff's all over the place. The second thing is the prices are very flexible. You see a cash price there, but that cash price is flexible. You can get access to these fairly easily. If you send me an email and say, Charlie, I want to see these 5 properties in New Jersey, I can get you access codes. You can go out and take a peek at the properties. So you can get into them fairly easily. They're easy to work with. They can do in-house closings via quitclaim. They can provide warranty deeds with these. What we try to do with these is we try to only send this list out in pieces. In other words, if you send us an email and you say, hey, I am in Boise, Idaho, or I am in Kansas City, Missouri, or I am in Cleveland, Ohio, just tell us where you want to be. Tell us what market you want us to send you the list in, and we will send you just that list. And the reason for that is if you look on this list here, it's not broken up by state. So if you're in Pennsylvania, you literally have to look through 1,800 properties to find the 5 properties in Pennsylvania. So if you tell us what market you're in, we'll customize that tape and we'll send it out to you, just the properties that are in your particular market. This is tape number 910. Again, we'll have a new tape that'll come out probably about the middle of next week. It's going back to September. This tape is about 1,100 properties in December it was 1,600. In January it was 1,800. I have no idea what it's going to be in February. It could be a lot more, it could be less. Now we sell off these every month, so this list does go down, but they add more properties to this every month. So it's a great tape to buy off. So that's REO tape number 910. If you're looking for REOs, contact us on that and we can get that to you. That's right at 20 minutes, and I nailed it right on the head again. My name is Charlie Castro. I want to thank you for joining our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed or somebody sent you this tape, contact us and we can let you know how to subscribe for this. You get an email that'll notify you every time we release one or we post it to our YouTube channel. If you're looking to customize a list, you can email Matt Castro. He's my son, matt.castro91@gmail.com. If you give him your criteria, what you're looking for, our database now allows us to go in and search by zip code, state, county, or city. If you've got specific areas you're looking for or areas you don't want, if you contact Matt and say, hey, I'm looking for your inventory in Buffalo, New York, he can go in there and see what we have in Buffalo, New York. So that's matt.castro91@gmail.com. That is our YouTube channel for the week. Hope everybody has a blessed week. Look forward to talking to you. Got my contact information up here. Look forward to talking to you soon, and everybody have a really great week. Thanks for joining us.